Meeting on July 7th, 2025 at 911 Church Street or Village Hall in Fredonia, New York. I'm Mayor Mike Ferguson. We call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Monday, July 7th, 2025. We'll roll call the trustees. Trustee Esperson.
Here.
Trustee Syracuse.
Here.
Trustee Twitchell.
Here.
Trustee Wendell.
Here.
Trustee Brockler.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The approval of minutes.
Whereas members of this board have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of June 23rd, 2025, and be it resolved that the board hereby approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
This portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak, once recognized, shall stand at the microphone and state their name and address. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves or 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a group. I will ask speakers to refrain from remarks in poor taste, slanderous, or not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board. Is anyone speaking tonight? Mr. Linden.
Good evening, board. There's a resolution on tonight's agenda having to do with the village seeking grants for the engineering, support of the engineering project with Labella, the most recent one that the county has put forward for the North County Water District. That's $19,500 to investigate the possibility of a grant, some grants from the, from the state EFC. So this is a continuation of the illogical spending of this village. Where was the overall the number of years here? There's been no applications for grants to maintain our system. Now, the state frowns on the possibility of when you accept fundings like the village did for grants and low interest loans. We spent millions of dollars on our water system. That was given to us from the state. They frowned on you throwing that away. They actually would praise you for going forward and completing your project, but you have not done so. The idea that Fredonia is not an intermunicipal water utility, I've heard this from this board. It is. It serves the village and a number of districts outside the village for profits back to the village to help them with their services and paying back some low interest loans. That's how those sales help. But here you continue spending more money for the dream, your dream, of somehow connecting Lake Erie water and pumping it uphill. Well, your dream is our nightmare, the community's nightmare, because the long-range projected forecast for the funding or for the financial aspect of this project is that buying water from Dunkirk in the long range is going to cost us many millions of dollars a year more. And that's not just my opinion. It is my opinion, but many others have come before you and stated this, people who have vast knowledge of finances of this community. So I urge you to think again. Spend the money on our municipal water system that we own. Once you don't own it, that's it. They have you. They will decide how much you pay forever. Thank you.
Thank you. That closes the public portion. Correspondence.
A doing letter dated June 12, 2025 was received from the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Department Incorporated for board approval.
Be it resolved that the doing letter of the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated is hereby approved.
Second.
Mr. Wendell?
Aye.
Ms. Syracuse?
Aye.
Mr. Brockler?
Aye.
Mr. Esperson?
Aye.
Ms. Twitchell?
Aye.
Correspondence dated June 4, 2025 was received from Stephen Watterson, Community Relations Director of the Resource Center, Filling the Gap Incorporated, requesting permission to sell newspapers downtown in the village on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for the annual Laurel Run edition.
Be it resolved that the Laurel Run Planning Committee's request to sell newspapers within the downtown village on Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, sort of 6 to 9 a.m., is hereby approved.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Before we go into the next one, I would like to remind the public, if you're volunteering for any group that is selling newspapers or different things that include areas that traffic is stopped, you cannot stand in the street. You can go out into the street if somebody's about to give you money, but you cannot stand in the street. It's a great way to get hit, and part of the reason why we mention it is has happened in other areas across the country, where well-meaning people trying to generate money for excellent organizations end up getting hurt themselves, sometimes with lifetime injuries because they stand in the street. So any of these that we approve, please stand on the corners, on the sidewalks where it's safe, and or else we won't be able to approve these in the future. Thank you.
Correspondence dated June 4, 2025 was received from Stephen Watterson, Community Relations Director of the Resource Center, Filling the Gap Incorporated, requesting permission to allow participants of the Laurel Run to pass through Fredonia with accompaniment of a patrol unit on Friday, July 18, 2025, between 12 and 12:30 p.m.
Be it resolved that the Laurel Run Planning Committee's request to allow participants to pass through Fredonia with the accompaniment of a patrol unit on Friday, July 18th, 2025, between 12 and 12:30 p.m. is hereby approved.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
My report today is going to be fairly short. We want to commend Fire Chief Josh Myers, as well as members of his staff. Without getting in too many details, a young boy was lost near the creek, got away from his family, and Chief Myers was part of several police, fire, and rescue groups to coordinate the effort, and we are proud to say and glad to say that the young man was found after a couple of hours, safe and sound, and we want to thank Chief Myers, his crew, and all the people that were involved in returning that young man back to his family. You're bored to death in the next one, I understand that, but after having watched multiple violations, I'm going to say it again. And I was also glad to see that the DOT now has commercials to back this up. The lines you see in the streets going from one curb to another are crosswalks. They're marked by yellow triangular signs. It is the law in New York State that someone walking on those lines has the right of way over you who is driving. I am sickened by the number of cars that I see that probably don't even know the law exists, that honk, that make obscene gestures at people crossing those crosswalks, which they're legally able to do. Once again, if the person steps into the crosswalk, and 9 out of 10 times, people like to look both ways to see if it's safe to start. You must stop and wait for them to get on the curb on the other side of the street. It's the law in New York State, and our officers will be out patrolling and watching for that extensively throughout the summer. I want to congratulate the Angry Squirrel, which will now be featured on a show called America's Best Restaurant. Once again, Fredonia recognized for some excellent businesses in the downtown core, and we want to thank them for what they do. I want to remind you about New York Alert, and there's a very good reason for it. New York Alert is a free service. Just go on your phone, look it up, you can download it onto your phone, and you can get updates on various things that are happening, from things like a missing child to water disasters, rainstorms, power outages, things of that nature. It's absolutely free, and they'll go right to your cell phone. And I say this because, once again, America was hit with a 100-year flood. And right now, as I left the house, it was announced that 92 people have already been found dead. That's unacceptable. And the reason why I say it is, unless we start moving in a positive direction with regards to the dam and the spillway, we are leaving citizens of our community at dire risk of having that same thing happen. We've been told by the Department of Health, we've been told by the Army Corps of Engineers, and it has gone on for far too long. So I encourage this board, I encourage the community to attempt to address this as soon as possible. Again, the never happened here, I'm quite sure the people that live in Texas would have said that as well. So with that, that's the end of my report. More of a commentary than a report tonight, but thank you. Mr. Brockler?
I'd
Or, I'm
just
sorry,
like to,
Mr. Esposito. Go ahead. Mr. Brockler.
I'd just like to wish great success to the Laurel Run Planning Committee and the important work of the Resource Center that they support. And that's really all I have this week.
Also want to thank you and the Fredonia Farm Fest Committee. I know that's fired up again and moving forward, so we look together with, look forward to a great Farm Festival again.
The Farm Festival Committee is really doing a great job. They have it together this year. They're on top of everything.
Trustee Esperson?
Yeah, we met with municipalities interested in gathering information about a fire district last week at the incubator. There were 5 or 6 different municipalities there. The attorney that specializes in forming fire districts made himself available to answer everybody's questions, and so they're taking the information back to their respective fire stations, and more to come. We had a chance to meet with PRP Energy Solutions regarding EV charging stations. We looked at a few locations in the village. They're going to get back to us with their ideas, costs, if there are any to us, grant opportunities available to get those charging stations built. We met with FEMA, Tucker County Department of Health, and Labella regarding the FEMA grant to study the viable options for the dam. We spoke about that at the workshop, the results of that meeting, and we will be voting on a couple of different items concerning that today. Attended a seminar regarding grant opportunities from different New York State agencies at the White Inn. That was very informative. We got some great information. Had a chance to talk to state representatives about that. And lastly, I was fortunate enough to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony along with the mayor and Trustee Twitchell for the White Inn. Great attendance. They've done just a magnificent job. If you haven't afforded yourself the opportunity to dine or drink or just walk around the White Inn, it's definitely worth the time.
And if you missed the ceremony, weren't able to come out there with easily 100 people that were there, you can watch it on the Chamber of Commerce's Facebook page and YouTube page. So,
That's it.
all right, Ms. Syracuse.
Nothing to report tonight.
Mr. Wendell.
Very limited for tonight. I know that Labella had visited the water treatment plant, I think it was last week, and that part of the process for the liquid chlorine retrofit project. So the summary, I don't know exactly what happened at that inspection or whatever it was, but I can say this, that project is moving forward. So hopefully within, do you think about a month approximately? Maybe a little more. Things move slow.
Thanks,
I know.
Steve.
Things do.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but,
We'll use the word eventually.
okay, eventually.
Work in progress.
Exactly. So that's about it. I did contact Municipal Solutions today, which is a financial entity out of Leroy, New York. had a conversation with them, just speaking about what they can offer the village. We've done business in the past, so that's more of an ongoing thing, so that's about it.
Ms. Twitchell?
Yes. I also did attend the ribbon cutting ceremony at the White Inn, and I want to congratulate Steve St. George and Devin Jones on a fabulous outcome. I mean, it can't shine any better here in Fredonia to have a jewel like the White Inn open back up again. And I would encourage people to go there and check it out. And I do have a report from Kayla from Recreation Department. As of this morning, we have 337 kids registered. All playgrounds have kids attending, which is great. Right now, the Fredonia Central School pool is closed due to maintenance and should be up and running by the end of this week. We have our first picnic in the park on Wednesday, July 9th with Glenn Colton. He starts at 12 p.m. All playgrounds will be closed at 11 a.m. to walk the children down to Barker Commons. At the end of the concert, all children will walk back with the recreation staff. All are welcome to attend. Fire hall tours will take place the week of July 14th. We ask that parents please follow the rules of entering from Seymour Street and exiting out of Howard Street while coming to and leaving Russell Joy Park during supervised playground hours. The Recreation Department would like to give a shout out to the thanks to Jake and Josh from DPW, Scott Marsh, and Chief Price for helping us out our first week. We would like to also thank all of those who have donated to the Recreation Department in the past few months. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. I will say that if that high school goes on much longer with the pool issue, let me know, and I'll see if we might be able to work something out with Fredonia State.
Okay.
Their pool.
Thank you.
Also want to address the fact that Trustee Esperson and I were looking at, we've got quite a few complaints about different activities that go on at the park, loud music, smoking of various types, and that we're putting together a sign, legal sign, new sign. There's signs there, but good luck finding them. So we have to get those up. We'll be up at all parks. There is no smoking, there is no marijuana smoking. There is limited use of alcohol if you are renting for a party. But we'll have all those put together. We will also post those rules on our social media and our website once those rules are completed and reviewed. Thank you. Resolutions. Mr. Brockman?
Was there a treasurer report or any additional
Oh,
reports?
I'm sorry. Treasurer's report.
Not this evening.
Any additional reports? Resolutions. See, I knew that. That's why I went right to the resolution.
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 5520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $41,250 from F599, water fund balance, to H8330.2 FEMA engineering study.
And I'm anxious to see this done, and I vote yes.
You mean you seconded?
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Whereas the village continues to review ways to improve its water system in order to maintain safe and reliable drinking water for its residents. Whereas the village was approved for grant through FEMA to perform a study on 3 options, including drawing down the normal pool and rehabilitating the dam, reconstructing the spillway and dam configuration, or decommissioning of the dam. Whereas the village's portion of the $165,000 grant will be $41,250 to perform the study and provide the information that will allow for the village to obtain more grant funding with their water source option. Be resolved that the mayor is authorized to execute and accept the contract with FEMA and will pay $41,250, 25% of the grant funding that the village is expected to contribute to the cost of the project.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Whereas the agreement with the Pomfret Water District requires village approval for all new water services, and whereas the town of Pomfret has received the application of residential water within the Berry Road Water District service at 9691 Chautauqua Road, owned by Mark Pecos, and whereas the Pomfret Town Board has this on their agenda to approve the application at Town Board meeting July 9, 2025. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Village of Fredonia hereby approves the residential water service connection 9691 Chautauqua Road, Fredonia, New York.
Second?
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Whereas the village is responsible for the building repairs at the library, and whereas Jamestown Roofing Company, Jamestown, New York, has offered a quote in the amount of $2,500 to make the necessary repairs to the roof, and whereas the roof repairs are necessary for the Village of Fredonia, therefore, be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes Jamestown Roofing Company to make the necessary roof repairs to the library in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Whereas the village requires 2 new sets of structural gear for the fire department, whereas the Municipal Emergency Services Poughkeepsie, New York, has provided a quote for $10,996.04 for the structural gear, whereas the gear is suitable for the village's purpose, therefore be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the purchase of the 2 sets of structural gear from Municipal Emergency Services for $10,996.04.
I'm going to vote against this, so somebody else is going to have to second it.
I'll second it.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell. Sorry.
I vote nay because we really have to watch our spending, and I don't believe it's important enough to buy this equipment at this time. So I vote nay.
Trustee Syracuse?
Be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the truck committee, Chief Joshua Myers, Assistant Chief Chuck Ortolano, Captain Daniel Aldridge, and firefighter Tyler Close to travel to Wyoming, Minnesota, to the Rosenbauer plant to perform the final inspection of the fire pumper at no cost to the village.
Second?
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 5520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $19,000 or $19,500 from F599 Water Fund Balance to F8330.44 Purification Contractual.
I won't be seconding this.
I'll second it.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
I vote nay on the Labella proposal to write grants for water system improvements, which are based on the faulty Labella water system seeker review.
We haven't even got to that one yet, but thank you. Whereas the village continues to review ways to improve its water system in order to maintain safe and reliable drinking water for its residents, whereas the village's engineer of record, LaBelle Associates, has the professional expertise to perform the grant writing process, as well as work with support staff on intermunicipal agreements which are necessary for the grant applications, whereas LaBelle has submitted a proposal in the amount of $19,500 to perform the engineering services to support the intermunicipal agreements, as well as the submission of EFC state water grants in the amount of $19,500. Therefore, be resolved, the mayor is authorized to sign the work order with LaBella to perform the EFC grant writing as well as the engineering services in support of intermunicipal agreements in the amount of $19,500.
Second.
Hey, Trustee Twitchell, you already voted nay?
Right, and I'm sorry, Trustee Esperson, but I was correct in voting nay on that because it applies to this.
No, I didn't say you couldn't vote nay on it.
Resolution.
I just said we hadn't even brought it up yet, and you already were voting no.
Well, then that wasn't a surprise, was it?
Trustee
It
Wendell?
was not.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
And I vote nay.
Yes. We need to go into executive session.
There's
We
a
have one
walk-on.
more.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Be
Yes, there is.
resolved that upon recommendations of Kayla Sullivan, Director of Fredonia Pomfret Recreation Department. The following individuals are hereby appointed to the seasonal positions for the 2025 recreation programs effective immediately. Be it further resolved, these hires will be effective immediately at a minimum wage of $15.50 an hour unless otherwise noted and ending August 1st, 2025. And that would be for Owen Caserta from Fredonia, New York.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Yeah. Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
I want to congratulate Kayla and her team once again on putting together her staff quickly and the community's patience on this. And once again, thanking John Gullo and the many, many, many people who donated to the project this year. Thank you. With that, we need to end this session and go into an executive session to discuss a personnel issue.
I'll make a motion, we enter executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Can I have a second? Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here tonight with us via Zoom. Please join us on Monday, July 7th. No,
I didn't
actually, we got a
change
meeting.
that.
We didn't change
Wednesday.
that, okay.
Wednesday,
So it is
16th.
Wednesday, next Wednesday at 9 a.m. in these very chambers for our next workshop. And remember, these meetings now begin at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much and have a great night.